looks at you. And if you look at him, he looks away. And his wife engages you while he checks you out. And then he gives you a little body map and he puts X's all over it. And you go, yeah, that's right. I got a pain here and a thing there. And he knows where everything is. He knows exactly what's going on.
Did you ask him what is he seeing? Your aura? Like, what is he seeing?
Everything. He sees everything. He was an allopathic doctor first. He went to medical school. He could write your prescription. He could do all that stuff. He was a doctor. And then he saw a Qigong master, this old guy, and people were lining up getting cured. And he thought, that's really interesting. And he learned that on top of being an allopathic doctor. So one day he's at me on my back and he's pushing and I can feel my back and I'm at the wall and there's a poster of a film on the wall, in my office. And I'm looking at it and I can see him in the background and he's like down like this, like like kung fu pointing rays of energy at me. And he hit me, he started yelling at my organ, at my liver. Like, get out, whatever. And I went up the wall and there was like 8 inches of air under my heels. And I was up the wall and I was like, whoa. And I came back down and it freaked me out. And I looked at him and he just went, he said, don't die. It's just science. Like that. And I said, just science. Okay.
Just science?
Yeah, just science. And I was so freaked out. I went to a priest. I said, is this guy demonic or something? Because he's lifting me off the wall. And the priest was like, he was an old Jesuit, right? A traditional old guy. And he was a cross between Jimmy Stewart and Elmer Fudd, That's the way he sounded. And I said, is this anything like demonic about this guy? He says, whoa, did he heal you? Like that. And I said, why, yes, he did. And he said, that's all right then. And he says, I have no trouble with something like that because it was within the realm of possibility that somebody had power like that and that it's inexplicable, but that it works. And it did work. He just passed away. He was pretty old.
There was a place that, I bought a comedy club out here, and before the building that we bought was the Ritz Theater on 6th Street, but before that I was under contract to another building, and then this other building was owned by a cult. And this is a crazy story. The cult was awful, horrible. There's a documentary on it. It's called Holy Hell. And this guy who was a gay porn star and a hypnotist. He was a yoga instructor. Got a bunch of people in West Hollywood, and then eventually moved them all out here to Austin. But what this guy was doing, one of the things that he would do to his disciples is he would do a thing called the knowing. And they had to be chosen for it. They had to earn it. And when he would get them and bestow the knowing upon them, he would touch their head and they would have this incredible experience where they said they contacted God. Now, all these people denounced him eventually. They left the cult. They all said he was a con man and this and that. But they all talked about that experience, and they said it was the most profound experience of their life, that they really do feel like they came in contact with God. And it's like, what can a person, if a person truly believes, and this other person truly believes that they can do this to them, and they have this moment, and something does happen, like what is that all inside of us? Do people have ways of pulling that out of you that we've lost track of, that we don't know? And even an evil person who's running a cult and manipulating people and exploiting people, he still has this thing that he was able to do to them that even after they've admitted that this guy exploited them, they say that was the most profound moment of their life.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Because I think, there are party tricks that you can get.
Right, but is that party trick, if it really is a pathway to connect you, at least temporarily, with God, that there is a thing inside of us?
Well, that's why I went to the priest, because I thought, because I'm off the floor.
Right.
So I thought, I got to check this out, because this is too weird. And he said, did he heal you? And I said, he did. And he said, that's all right then. Because the guy wasn't trying to get anything out of me.
Right.
In fact, he never charged me.
Really?
The first time I went to see him, he charged me. And it was like, okay. And then he never charged me again. And he used to call me when I was sick.
Really?
I wouldn't call him. He knew when I was sick. He'd call me. He said, I need to come see you. I'm like, okay.
So he had like some sort of a direct line with your energy.
Something. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And he could, this is the other thing. He could teach you martial arts, like quickly, without you having to know what to do. It was a weird thing. He did it firstly with my son, who he got him for a couple of weeks, and like he said, I'm going to show you something. And I went out there and he blindfolded him, and he had these two swords, and he was doing all this, this crazy stuff. I'm like, what the? I said, how did he learn that so fast? He said, it was in him. And I'm like, whoa. And then he started to do a thing with me. He taught me how to harness this energy and to actually begin what seemed to be almost like involuntary movement. And depending on the hand mode you took, it would create a style of kata or self-defense. I mean, I used to do a crude martial art, not crude, but like a hard martial art.
What was it?
Kyokushinkai.
Okay, yeah.
You know, way back.
Kyokushin karate.
Yeah. I think it's Korean.
It's Japanese.
It is?
Yeah.
I can't remember. But it's like, I didn't stick with it. But it was, but he got this whole other approach of breathing and visualizations that would actually draw energy into your lower chakras, and then you'd release the energy, and it would create this kind of movement. And I showed it to a friend of mine who was a martial artist, and I said, tell me about the footwork I'm doing here and what I'm doing. And he looked at me, he says, that looks really good to me. I said, it was kind of like, what's that really soft kind of martial?
Tai Chi.
It was like that. I was doing stuff like that. It was crazy. And it was really a great release, but it was about visualization and breath.
Yeah.
And the release of that energy that you pent up from all around, that you visualized, manifesting itself in you.
There's got to be something to all that stuff. People have been practicing Tai Chi for a long time.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be practicing the same movements for all these years if it didn't do something.
Yeah. Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It keeps people young and healthy. They do it in China. You see groups of people out in Asia sort of out there in groups doing it all in unison. It's like, it's a good thing. Exercise.
Yeah. What do you do now for exercise?
Oh gosh, I'm terrible. I'm falling apart. I got dead guys parts in my shoulder. I've got, cadaver parts. This shoulder fell apart. This shoulder fell apart. A hip, a foot. It was terrible. I couldn't walk for about a year almost.
Really?
And so, you fall down. That's partially why I had to go and see Breca to sort of get the couch potato stuff off. But, I lift weights and I do some, walking and stuff like that, like really get your heart rate up and stuff like that. So, I'm trying. Hey, I'm 69 years old, so it's like it's getting to be like 7 decades worth,
Yeah.
But I want to stay fit if I can. And I banged myself up a little too much in my early life, so I'm paying for it now. And like in your 60s, man, you're not there yet, but stuff starts like giving up on you.
Yep.
It's like...
No, I feel it in my 50s.
Oh, yeah. How old are you?
57.
58 is when it starts, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's when I first noticed it. It was like, what's going on with this here, this shoulder, and I went down to Reardon, of course, who shot it up with stem cells, and it was good for like 2 years.
You just got to keep going back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't go back often enough.
That's the thing. I think it's just your body's just not going to heal the way it did when you were younger unless you consistently get therapy for that.
Yeah. You're in good shape, though.
Yeah.
I mean, so I was in reasonable shape at 58, and I think I'm in reasonable shape now. But I'm just, it's just trying to push the old man off and using various methods to do it,
Yeah, that's what it is. Keep the body as young as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and demand a lot from it. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I just demand a lot and make sure I recover.
I think a lot of it's about meditation too. You can actually get into a good headspace that kind of cools you out and stops the stress, even no matter what's going on. I'm going to have to do it tonight when I find out whether I still have a home or not.
Yeah.
So
Well, if anything looks demonic, it's the fires in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I remember one time we were filming Fear Factor, and we had to drive home. We had to cancel the shoot or end it early and drive home because the fires had hit. And this was like up, we were off the 5, and driving home for 50 minutes on the highway. The right side of the highway was in flames.
Yeah.
Like Lord of the Rings, like Sauron is coming over the top. It looked fucking insane. It's biblical.
Yeah.
It looks insane.
And you got to be careful too, because you could die. And
Oh,
if
100%.
you can't breathe, I mean, come on.
If you can't breathe, or if the cars in front of you catch fire and the wind blows this way and all the cars catch fire and you can't get off the road because to the right of you is on fire, to the left of you is on fire, and the fire's coming up the highway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people have died that way.
And it can happen in an instant.
Yep.
I got hung once by mistake. I was on a film set, and I had my neck in a noose, and I was directing the film. So I'm on a ladder, and I'm like, so I'll just be hanging here like this, man. And then the next thing I knew, I was waking up. I was on the floor, and there were all these people standing over looking at me, and I'm saying, what are you people doing? Get to work. It was like, and they said, well, you hung yourself. I said, whoa, you kidding me? It happens in an instant, and you don't know it. It wasn't painful, nothing. I was just gone.
Well, you probably got choked out.
Yeah, choked out by the noose, and then they grabbed me by the legs and got the rope off. And
Jesus.
Like during Braveheart, it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was funny. So I found out what it was like to sort of go into the next realm. But of course, we did. I was fortunate enough to work with Horion Gracie 39 years ago.
Yeah.
He'd just come from Brazil.
Well, I remember when you were doing Lethal Weapon. It was the first time I'd ever seen jiu-jitsu in a movie.
A leg choke on film.
Yeah.
Horion taught me the leg choke. He said, "Now you grab your foot and you."
Yeah.
Like, okay. And it was cool, but it was. Now my girlfriend does it, and she's like a purple belt. So I've learned.
Really?
Yeah, I've learned not to talk.
Oh,
back.
she's legit.
Yeah, she's legit. Yeah.
Purple belt is basically a black belt. You just need a little bit more time.
Yep.
If you can I always tell all jiu-jitsu students, if you can get to purple belt, you are a black belt. You're going to be a black belt.
Oh, she will.
You just got to stay on that path.
No, she is. She's just obsessed with it. So,
Yeah.
And she's, as I say, I don't talk back to her.
I think the purple belt is the hardest belt to get to.
It is.
Because it's just like, in the beginning, you're just getting crushed.
Mm-hmm.
That's jiu-jitsu, especially for women. It's
Yeah.
so difficult for women because they don't have the physical strength that the men have.
Yeah.
It's because you can kind of get away with a lot. If you're a big, strong guy, you can get away with a lot of shit. But then by the time you get to purple belt, like, man, you have to have real technique and you have to have a real understanding of what's going on.
She's got a good mind. And I think she's like a chess player.
It is like that.
Because I know from fighting with her. She wins arguments when she's wrong. So
Sometimes you let them win, though, right?
you have to.
It's just like you got to walk away.
Oh yeah. Sometimes it's like,
You got to go, okay.
it's my second thought in my first action.
Yes.
Out of here.
Yes. Yeah.
But she got the purple belt.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, it's good for her.
Yeah. Yeah. A woman black belt, that's an unbelievably exceptional woman. They can get to that because they have to roll with men. And it's just a
she does.
significant disadvantage.
Big dudes and stuff. And she's like, and she's done some exceptional things, I've heard. So it's like, it's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't follow it up.
You can still do it.
No, I'm a more baseball bat gun kind of guy. I'm in trouble. I just that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, be careful with that in California. You could wind up being in jail.
Yeah, that's true.
You wind up using it to protect yourself, and they'll lock you up.
Yes, it's
which is also evil.
Yeah, that happens a bit.
Yeah.
Oh well, there's a perverse nature in our society right now with the law.
When you look at your life now, and you're on your third act, as you were saying, like what do you look forward to these days? Is it creating things?
It's creation.
Yeah,
I think it is. It's about creation, and I figure I'm pretty average at most things, but I'm good at a couple of things. I know how to tell a story on film. I know how to do that. I don't know. That's a weird place to be, but I think a lot can be achieved by art and image. And you can convey a lot without actually having to say it. You can do things to affect people emotionally or spiritually, even without being overt. I always like to reference just a shot that, and it's in a Ridley Scott movie, right? And you don't know why it works, or why it's effective on some level, but